It's at 50 hertz. We need to be below this still. We need to reduce our values down at idle a little bit further. Let's go do that right now. I'm also going to go in and add a little bit more airflow on our startup because it doesn't want to start up very clean. So let's go and try that right now. Let me go to my stop my data logging. So we're going to do, again, two-part effect here, 3D VE table. We're going to grab our values here from, let's say, 10 to 90, 500 to 1500. I'll do shift asterisk. Let's type in let's do 0.85. Let's reduce that down. And then, again, we'll blend this down here vertically. Blend this horizontally just a little bit. And let's also go here to our startup. So we're looking at our startup airflow. This is our airflow on startup. We're going to go and add some additional. So we're in the warmer temperatures right now, where this is based on coolant temp versus percentage demand. Now, the percentage demand is going to be in relationship to the 0 to 100% travel of our idle position motor. So the idle position motor, again, we know their steps, it must be 120, 130 if I'm remembering correctly off the top of my head. It's just been a little bit since I filmed an Evo and sat behind an Evo 8 or Evo 9 here and looking at the steps. The demand here is 0 to 100% of the full scale of steps. So if the steps are, let's say, 120 steps would be 100% demand, and 0 would be then all the way steps turn all the way down. In this case, this specifies under our starting conditions here, starting and then post-start, what we want the airflow to be commanded through the idle control motor. In this case, we need to go and ramp this up. So we're right here in our range where we're starting it off. Let's bump this up to something like 80. Let's give this a bit more airflow. Now this is going to be under cranking, so when we're cranking, it's going to add this much airflow. This should help start it up a little bit better. Let's go here and do V. We'll kind of blend some of those changes in. And this is going to be our post-start. This is how much it's going to be adding when we fire it off for the first bit of time. This is also part of the problem that we have going on here. It wants to kind of hang low and then it kicks into the idle control. This will be only applied for the first few seconds after the engine's exited our cranking airflow table into the post-start table. We're going to go and add some additional percentage airflow here. Let's go from 8, let's go to something like 35. Let's add a decent amount because it seems like it's struggling right now. So we've added the airflow in, we've made our changes here. Because we've scaled this down, we may need to scale our actual latency table up to compensate. I don't know what's going to happen here. So let's just do one thing at a time. We've scaled the table down, we've done our additional airflow here. I'm going to go and save this. Now I'm actually going to go and save this as a different name. Let's go save ROM as, and I'm going to call this Dyno Cal 1. I can save it as a different name, not oversaving on top of our base file. Let's go and flash this real quick, and then we'll evaluate. So this is always going to be a give and take relationship. It's going to be figuring out what we need to change and edit our fuel table by to get things sorted out, to get our fuel trims sorted out, making sure that it's going to be satisfying in getting the fuel trims idle, part throttle, and making sure that when we get into boost, we have appropriate fuel scaled. These values are just an arbitrary values in the table. They are not going to necessarily be right for your engine. In fact, most of the time we have to scale them and tune them as we're finding right now. So let's jump back in here to our table. Let's go back into our start logger. Let's let this get online here. Make sure I'm out of gear. It should start up much better now without giving it any throttle. So let's see what's going to happen. We can see here the IAC steps here, 120 steps. So it's all the way open when we're starting right now. Let's see what's going to happen here. Fires right up. You can see that it fires up pretty good and it's holding it idle pretty well. So that's the post-start airflow. It's going to be tapering itself out as we go on in time here. Now notice if we look here at our airflow hertz, this should start to drop down since we turned our table down. Now it's high right now because the idle RPM is a little bit high here. You can see now it's settled into the target idle speed is roughly 1045. We can see the engine RPM here is roughly 1000 RPM. We see the idle steps, what they're showing here, about 38, 37 steps. If we take a look right now, airflow hertz is in the 43 to 50 hertz range. If we leave it idle long enough right now, as soon as the short-term fuel trim comes online, if we leave it idle long enough, we should find that the long-term idle trim low should start to populate because we're within our parameters here. Now, if we go back into our file and we jump back into some of our fuel tuning here, specifically our tables here for not open loop, if we're looking here at our fuel values, we have to go down in here to, there's our closed and open loop values here. It's not in our MAF, not in our open loop, and right now I cannot find it. It's not in our warm-up. Let's see here. Here we go, closed loop O2. I didn't see the section. If we look here,
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.